Hey, y'all. You are listening to Definitely Not For Everyone. It's your girl, Nicolette, and I'm here with my co-host, Diana. We are here today with Mr. Demitrius Snaer. Am I saying that correctly?
That is 100% correct. Nice job.
Okay. Also known as the Snaer Squad on TikTok. Please, you guys, say hello to the audience for me.
Hi.
Hello, how's it going?
So before we actually started recording, I went into this whole thank you thing, but allow me to do that on the recording this time. So I can only speak for me, but TikTok made my life. I wrote down a little, but it was really a lot easier with all the traumatic things that were happening in the world. It was nice to see people sharing their lives, sharing their perspectives, and living life. So I have you here today just to really say thank you. And to find out more about you and why you do what you do. Usually, how I like to begin our conversations is by asking you to define yourself today, because every day is different. I think I'll start off just to kind of. I am feeling a little worried because I got a call from my daughter's teacher today talking about she ain't doing her work. And she's 11 years old. And she's lucky I didn't beat her ass because I learned that's not the way to go. And and I was talking to Diana earlier, and she was like, she's 11 and she's doing what she's supposed to be doing. Her teachers are doing what they're supposed to be doing, and you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Everybody's doing their job.
Right.
So, everyone's playing their role. So don't even trip, mama.
But
don't
I'm tripping.
Even trip. Yeah, you are.
I am.
Yeah, you are.
You are. But then other than that, I'm just feeling really blessed, really happy. And really thankful that you decided to come on the show today. So
yes,
thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I'm actually flattered that you're thanking me for being on the show. I don't really consider myself needing to be thanked, but I do feel flattered that you're thanking me for being on the show, and I'm glad to have been invited to it.
Aww.
Appreciate that. So you define yourself today and how you're feeling? Was that it? That you're
No, myself, honestly, man, I'm blessed. I'm a blessed person. I can't even begin to say, my day today was, got to take one of my daughters out to run, got to go with my other daughter to her cross country practice. In about an hour here, I'm going to take that same daughter to the basketball gym to shoot around a little bit.
Nice.
Dinner. I really can't complain, honestly. As much as the stressors of the world can get to you, I've always been kind of a laid back person and not allowing things to get to me so much. And I think that's why I can do some of these TikToks, because I can kind of have that passion during that and then step away from it and not take that to, my family and all that. So, I talk about privilege a lot, and we talk about white privilege and stuff like that. But honestly, as an African-American man, even in these times right now, I feel very privileged. So I got no complaints on it.
I love
wow. I do. I love that. I love it.
What about you, Di? How you feeling
today,
girl?
Di is doing good because I'm not cold. That's what the sweater's for today, people. Usually I say I'm cold and I'm hungry. Well, I'm still hungry, but I'm not cold. So we're making improvements, people. We're doing good. Today was a good day. I had these sketches in my head for months. I got to actually put it down. I actually got to make a sample. I design and make bags, people, as well as working as a massage therapist for the last 20 years. That's how I met this lady. And but today I actually got it out of my head. I made it, hate it, but at least it's off my chest, So I'm like, woo, we can move forward now, because I had made that bag 10,000 times in my head. And now that I saw it in person, I was like, oh God, no. Okay, move on. So today I feel good because that was bothering me. And my kids all acted right today, not a peep out of anybody. So I was like, blessings all around, girl. We are doing it today. I was like, yes. My husband didn't bother me. He was good in meetings all day, zooming away. I was like, I love you, dude. Didn't ask me for nothing. Didn't make nothing, honey. No coffee. No, can you bring me a sandwich? Nothing. I was like, what is this day? This is so, What? You know, I don't have boys. I should say I don't have kids. I need to stop saying kids. They keep reminding me. My sons are 26, 21, and 14. They're men. So
Mhm.
they keep saying, you know, mom, you know, we're not kids. Please stop saying we're kids. Okay, we're men. I just laugh. I'm like, whatever, baby. You want some cocoa? You want mommy to make you some cocoa? It's cold. Get a blanket. But that's enough about me. Let's start the show.
Yes. Well, along the same lines, right? About, youth and growing up and stuff like that. Um, can you tell us a little bit about how you grew up, like who your
Oh
people
yes,
is,
I love
Yeah,
this
and
part.
like,
I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. I mean, this gets this. I'm gonna kind of get ahead of myself because this cuts to basically a lot of the questions you're gonna ask about
okay,
where I get my passion from and all this. But
yeah,
I grew up in New Orleans, Louisiana. My mom and dad were together for a while. My mom worked at a hospital, pretty much late nights. My dad owned a bar in Louisiana, which was like next door to our house, basically. So
Nice.
imagine my life like I watched my dad beat people up and stuff a couple of times. Through that though, he was pretty abusive to my mom as well. I
Oh
have
no.
two older brothers and a younger sister. And so like growing up in New Orleans, Louisiana with a dad who was abusive and all that, um, it was kind of tough. I was the third in the I was two older brothers, so I was third. I was a little bit younger when this stuff was going on. I didn't really see a lot of it. I can recall like maybe once or twice seeing him be abusive or hearing it at least. And basically, that's basically how we got to California. My mom just out of the blue one time came home one night, told us pack our bags. We hopped on a plane. We moved to California, and that's how I got here. And that was at
Wow.
14 years old. So and that's part of the reason why I'm passionate about some of the things I talk about on TikTok and everything is because I have a strong mother, and I think that it's important to protect women, especially the ones that the ones that were like my mom, who are raising kids on their own and trying to take care of things and all that stuff. So it is just I can go on for days about my mom, my dad, all that stuff. But Hurricane Katrina actually brought my father to California, and so now he's in California in Richmond, and my brother lives in Oakland, and they stay in contact. It's kind of a weird thing. Like people tell me I should forgive him, and I haven't not forgiven him. I just don't really see a big point in him being in my life. There's still some things in his life that I don't approve of, and I don't want to bring my daughters into that. We have a completely different life than what they might have had if we had stayed in Louisiana and I had fallen into some of the things that friends and family members have fallen into. And so, with that being said, just I've seen him, my daughters have seen him, uh, but there hasn't been like a lot of interaction with him and everything. So, and it's not about forgiving to me. I don't know if
Mhm.
I'll ever forgive a person for the things that
Mhm.
he did to my mom. I don't know if I need to, I don't know, maybe someday. But for me, it's just more about he needs to grow a little bit, and in all honesty, when we moved to California and my mom was taking care of things on her own, he never came looking for us. So my
Mhm.
thing to my brother and sister is always, maybe he doesn't want to be bothered with us. You guys are out here
Mhm.
trying to, have this relationship with him. Maybe he's thinking, hey, you guys got away from me. I was good with that. Why are you bothering me now? So until he really reaches out to me and wants to talk and reconcile and things like that, we just we keep our relationship pretty. We don't have a big relationship, but he's on Facebook, and I allowed him to follow me on there, so he gets to see the videos I post of the girls and stuff. And both of my daughters are, they run a lot. They also they play
lots of
basketball,
sports.
a lot of sports.
Mhm.
Yeah. So he's getting to see that stuff, and we'll see how it
That
goes.
might be enough,
Yeah, I
Not
totally
everyone's
relate.
meant to be in your life. And I know where you're going because this
Mhm.
story is so familiar and close to home for us. So we
Yeah.
get it.
I
We get
totally
it.
relate. I
And
totally
like
relate.
I say
Nice.
that to Nikki all the time. Not everyone is meant to be in your life. There's certain very, very close family members that are not in our lives, not in my life. And it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't wish them harm, but I wish you well from over there. But you can't, it's not healthy for you to be in my life. and I am good,
Yep.
with that. And people need to understand that's okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
right, Mama?
Yeah, totally. I totally relate. My father and I, we don't talk
Mm-mm,
either. And it
mm-mm,
was not physically abusive, but he was definitely mentally and emotionally abusive to both my mother and myself.
mm-mm.
And it was only till I had my own child, literally, yes, until I had my own child and I was trying to get things moving,
Mm,
that I was like, no, I don't need this
mm-mm.
kind of drama in my life. Like, why am I chasing this person for your brothers? Like, why am I chasing this person? He's the father. Like, why am I doing all the work? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm
It
so
was a
much
journey.
happier for it. I'm so
It was a
much
long
happier
journey
for
for
it.
you, though. That
It
was a
really
long
was.
journey
It
because you also
really
had the
was.
dilemma of wanting the relationship with your siblings. Absolutely.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I mean, that
But
was but
yeah,
you
it
got
was
through
it
it.
was
Yeah, it's funny because my cousins and stuff will be like, "Man, don't you want to be around your dad and stuff?" And I'm like, "Bro, I'm 45 years old, man. I already know how to catch a football. I already
There
know
we
how to
go.
like
yes.
needed to do for me, man. That's done. Like I know how to balance a checkbook. I'm 45. I'm raising my own kids, so I don't need
Mm,
and believe me, there are days where I'm like, my it would be nice if my daughters were, because my wife's mom and dad are in their lives a lot, and like they're both retired, and their life is basically, and my mom's as well, is going to my daughter's sporting events and their other grandchildren's sporting events. I mean, they are parked there. That's what they do. Like, I mean, I love
They
around.
have their names written on the seats and
Oh,
everything.
bro,
got
like
the T-shirt.
my mother-in-law and my mom will sit at a and my daughters, I mean, they're both pretty good, and they'll sit at a track meet and they'll win a race, man, and people be, oh man, that girl, she's always fast. And my mom and my mother-in-law will be like, yeah, that's our granddaughter. They
No.
this is their life. My younger daughter, she plays basketball, so my father-in-law loved basketball because my wife played. I didn't play, but my wife did, and that's all he talks about. And like, he's so mad about the pandemic right now because we don't have sports in California going on at all right now. Really,
Right.
I mean, not
Yeah. We
sports.
don't hear either.
So
Mm,
he's like missing that. So I mean, that's their life. So some days I'm just like, man, I want to give that to him. I want him to enjoy that too, because he sees the videos, and my oldest brother played basketball, and my dad, when I think my oldest brother had a better relationship with him, I think things got bad as, by myself or my younger sister. But yeah, some days I want to give that to him, but I don't know. It's kind of like you said, it's some people aren't meant to be in your life, and we'll see what happens.
mm-mm,
I hate sometimes that I feel like I'm being mean, when I talk about it, and it's not it at all. I'm not,
mm-mm,
like
mm-mm.
that, because that, I mean, here's the thing too. I talk about empathy a lot in my posts, in my
Yes, I
TikTok.
saw it.
Talk about loving people, respecting people, and all that. And then there's that other side of me who, has this lack of relationship and a little bit lack of empathy for my father,
It's
because
called boundaries.
There you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
I was about to say, oh my
Straight
goodness.
up. That's not having empathy or love for somebody. That's
No,
having boundaries
exactly.
because you are
yeah,
unhealthy and you are toxic to be
There you
around
go.
me and my family. Period.
yeah,
Amen. That's
So
right. That's
yeah.
yeah.
right.
Um. So, how did you meet your wife? Obviously, you met her in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And was it high school? Were y'all like high school sweethearts, or did it end up being something after college, or how did that happen? Because I
It's
love
so,
your wife.
I'll tell you, it's so crazy because, like, honestly, like, this is gonna sound crazy, and it's so dumb, but it's funny because, like, this really happened. I moved here from New Orleans, Louisiana, right? All black. That's all we knew were black people. I moved into Manteca, California. Like, literally, if you saw a black person, you talk to them. You're like, yo, you coming over? None, right?
Yes.
So like, I remember my mom telling me, hey, I know we live in this town. You guys don't know a lot of white people. I'm okay with whoever you guys date and stuff like that. And I was just like, date? Like, I didn't even think, honestly, I'm just, this is as a kid. I
Right.
didn't think white women were attractive. I literally remember going to this beach one time, and we called it a beach, but it was literally like a reservoir in our city, right? And I'm there, and I'm like 14 or 15 years old, and there's this girl, and she's running by or something. And I'm like, oh, that's a cute girl, and she was white. I was just like, whoa, like why am I 45 years old and I remember that day? And that wasn't my wife, right? But I think that was the time where I decided, like, it's okay to date whoever you want to date, right? So yeah, in high school, it was funny. She was so I was gone for a track meet for a couple of days, and it was just me and the coach. The rest of the team was practicing. And I get there the next day, and I was the team captain. So I'm in the middle of the circle. And as soon as I show up, this guy is like, hey, there's this new girl on the team. She's cute, high school boys and stuff, right? And I just see her, it's sad because I remember, and everybody thinks it's so sweet. I don't know if it is that or not, but she had on this Arizona State shirt and these shorts, and I thought she was cute. And like, she didn't give me the time of day. She ended up being in my geometry class. I like had to lie to the she went on vacation to like Hawaii, and the teacher goes, and I was like considered, I wouldn't say a dumb jock because that's not what I was, but I was a jock before I was a student for sure. I was an athlete student. So the teacher, here's this girl, right? She was a freshman when I was a senior, and I didn't even know this, right? Because I'm in geometry because I had gotten kicked out of it my freshman year. They said, you're gonna have to take this now, right? So I'm a senior in geometry. She's a ninth grader in geometry. Normally, you're a sophomore or a junior in there, but she's a freshman in there, right? So I don't know this. So, but I just know that I was looking over her shoulder a few times. She's getting A's on everything, right? So the teacher comes to me and he's like, hey, the teacher says to everyone, I want you guys to get in groups, get with partners. Well, she was on vacation to Hawaii at the time, and I found this out after the fact, right? So he comes up and he's like, Demetrius, who's your partner? And I said, oh, that girl, Melissa Del Nero, said, if we have to get it with partners, she wants to be my partner. He looked at me like, why?
No, she didn't.
He was like, no, not the girl who's the smartest girl in the class is not trying to be your partner, bro. Like, but he believed me, right? So check this out. This is funny. She comes back from vacation. I'm like, hey, we're partners. And she's like, we are? And I'm like, yeah, Mr. Land, some reason wanted you and I to be partners. And she looks at me the same way he did, like, why would Mr. Land put this dude with me, right? So, so man, honestly though, like, we started talking and everything, and she was young, so it was like one of those things where it was like I was about to leave for college. I shouldn't be talking to this girl who's that young anyway. So we talked a lot. But honestly, like, from day one, when we started talking on the phone and stuff like that, she would always, like, I'll never forget one time we're on the phone and she's like, hey, did you do your geometry homework? And I'm like, nah, I haven't done it yet, because blah. And the phone just hangs up. I'm like, the heck, this girl hang up on me? So I call her back. I'm like, hey, you just hang up on me? She's like, yeah, call me when you do your geometry homework. I don't know why you would, like,
Nice.
not do your homework. Like, she's like, I get home and I do my homework. Why don't you do that, But that's just not, like, my mom was working nights. I had time to do whatever I wanted to. So we talked a little, but then I went away to college. So we kind of broke up a little bit during that time, but we stayed in touch and everything. Well, when she graduated high school, she came to Fresno State, and, we just got back together or started talking and got together and everything. And so basically high school sweethearts, I guess, in a way. Mostly, like, things kind of really, like, escalated as we got older and stuff. But funny thing is too, is that I was in 8th grade when I moved here. She was in 5th grade, but we were at the same school. And she could I wish I had it with me right now. She could pull out her 5th grade yearbook, and she went through the yearbook. You know how girls do in there, like, checking out cute guys, and she wrote "ha ha" on my face in her yearbook. Yeah, like, she would, like, honestly, I tell people all the time, if Melissa and I broke up, she probably wouldn't be with somebody that looked like me. I just don't get. For some reason, I'm like, this girl she was not feeling me. Oh, I don't know. I don't even know. I think she was like, this guy needs my help. So I'm just gonna. Now we've been married years, and so.
I knew I liked her. See,
man.
That's my kind of girl right there.
That is funny.
Yeah.
That story reminds me of me and Max. I couldn't stand him. For years, I heard stories about my husband. Could not stand him. Then when I met him, I was like, No smiles, no nothing, just, oh, so you Mannix. Uh-huh. I don't like you. But unfortunately, I also knew in that moment that person was going to be in my life forever. I didn't know how, I didn't know why, but I knew. Same thing with her. When I saw her, I was like, this spirit, this person is going to be in my life forever. I didn't know why, I didn't know how. And here we are 20 years later, and me and him, 20 something years later,
Ooh.
25
Nice.
years later, me and my husband been together 25 years. So yeah, but yeah, I can relate. I understand when she was
Yeah.
ha-ha in the picture. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
So in the beginning, when you started doing your TikToks, it was
Hmm.
all about trying to get your daughters to join you in on
That's
those
right.
TikToks,
That's
right?
Yeah.
right.
Yes.
And then it kind of progressed into some really hot topics, right? And
Yeah.
then specifically, I'm talking about, I call it the Don't Be Ken saga,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you talk to us a little bit about that and like how that came to be and why you do, like, yeah, I want to hear all of that.
So it's crazy because so I teach health, and one of our units is sexual. I think it's called violence and harassment or something like that. So I wrote out all these scenarios before for my classes. And what I would do is I would give them these scenarios and we would discuss if it were sexual harassment or if it wasn't. And then I would go through the unit of sexual harassment and teach them the terms and all that. And then we go back through the scenarios. And sometimes, even after learning everything, they still didn't get it. And so then, not only that, but then it's like my athletes, right? My male athletes, even so, I have always thought like as I get older, these dudes are gonna start to like try to hide things from me, but I'm 45 now and they still treat me like their big brother. So they talk to me about everything, you know? And so a lot of these Ken conversations, they're a little bit so they're a mixture of conversations I've had with some of these male and female athletes, and a little bit of just reading up on things too, like different case laws and stuff like that, case studies and all that. So sometimes they come off as a little exaggerated, but I always tell people none of these are fully made up. They might be mixtures of things, but these things actually happen. So the first time I did it, it had to be because of I came across one of those TikTok dudes that be like giving this advice,
Yes.
so
Bad
pathetic. I was
advice.
like, what the heck? Like, and I've always been like, I hate when people say, oh, I'm gonna treat my sons different from my daughter and blah blah blah. Oh, if my son go out and get a girl pregnant, no big deal because I ain't gotta take care of her, or him or whatever. But if my daughter, and I'd just be like, ugh, like that's not a good way to do things, And so I think for the sake of my daughters, like I want them to be, I want the pool to be a lot better for them.
Right.
So I figure the only way to do that is I need to educate people, right? And so just between those TikTok guru guys or whatever they call themselves, relationship gurus, conversations with my athletes, I realized there's a need. And from the time I did one, and honestly, the amount of DMs I've gotten from women saying, please keep doing these. I'm a single
Yes.
mother.
Yes, please.
There's no man in my life. This is like so important. And honestly, like it's kind of taken on this thing, and so like it's funny that you say don't be Ken, because when I was doing them, I decided at some point, you know what, I need to name this guy. I need to name him so that way people can like because I feel like if I name him, people are gonna say that guy's an idiot, because people would always go, man, that dude is an idiot and stuff. And I wanted to name him. And I told my wife and my daughters that. And my wife, she's so cool. She's just like, my wife is the type of person, she's like, TikTok is your little thing. You're having fun. If you give me a suggestion, I'm going to tell you, yes, that sounds good. Because she's just like, dude, just do you, have fun, right?
Aw.
I'm going to name it Ken. And I think it's going to resonate with people, because I've had a lot of people be like, do some merch and stuff, and I've thought about it. And I've always thought like, I've never gotten into TikTok for the money, and I have a good job and everything. And it's just been like about like doing this or whatever. But then I thought, okay, if I name Ken and people, because I think someone says something about like, you should have a shirt that says don't be
Don't
Ken
be
or something.
Ken, yeah.
Did that, right?
I
So
would
then,
buy one.
yeah. And my daughter, funny. My daughters were like, that's a bad idea. And then my daughters sometimes, man, those girls, they are so funny. They try to tell me, like, they're like my wife, right? They don't care about social media. They don't care. So my bachelor's degree is in broadcast journalism,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So I did radio and television for a couple of years, and then I got into teaching because I wanted to coach. So I went back and got a master's in kinesiology.
Mm-hmm.
So, but my daughters are always like, you should try this in your TikToks. I'm like, y'all don't even have a TikTok. You don't even, my daughter one and did like 5 videos or something. I'm like, are you gonna tell me I've built this platform, I've built this following, and y'all trying to tell me how to do it now?
Right.
And so like when I'm trying to do like family ones and I'm like, we're gonna set up over here, they're like, yeah, maybe we should do over there. Listen, when you guys get help me, but right now I'm telling you, you know. And so if I swear what I need is a camera on us, like while we are making some of those dance ones, because none of us can. I'm the best dancer in our house, and I'm not. So like some of those dance videos are just, oh, we like literally someone could die in the, like that one. Look for the one on my birthday. You remember the one that was that dun 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 dun, and I don't know, but you gotta look for that. That
Okay.
thing, I'm talking. I'm not exaggerating.
I will.
100 tries. We were so mad, just other's throats. But I was like, this is all I want for my birthday. All I want for my birthday
That's
is
right.
this one TikTok, you know?
Aww.
That's
So,
right.
I have to check. I
pretty
can't believe I missed that one.
Yeah, I'm trying. The song
Oh.
didn't ring a bell. I was trying to think.
I remember
one?
all the ones that you did by yourself because your daughters wouldn't do them with you.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Those are so funny. Oh man.
I love it.
In one screen it'd be like 8 people, and then you're the only one on your
Yeah.
screen doing it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, oh.
So wait, you've been on my
amazing.
TikTok for a minute then.
Well,
You've been-
no, like I only started watching TikTok when the pandemic hit. And you've been doing it for like a year before that, like a couple of months before that, like September or something like that.
Yes.
And when I found you and I saw and I liked what you did, you know, I was going.
You just go back. Oh yeah, that's what we
back.
do. Yeah.
Because no, my TikTok has like it's. I mean, if you look through my TikToks, like you can almost see like what's going on in my life, like because there's like happy times, and then I think the George Floyd thing was the first time I decided to like go serious because I felt like, and I don't know, you know, your guys' situation right now, but as a Black person who's successful in the town that I live in, who everyone sees as like, I felt like my white friends, because I have a lot of them, would use me as the, but Demetrius doesn't, blah, 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 you know? And so I felt like it's my responsibility to let people know, no, like the Black dude that you guys know, that you think of as like this successful athlete, person who does all these good things in the community, that guy has been harassed by the police as well. That guy gets followed around stores as well. And so I thought it was a responsibility because a lot of times what they would do is they would say, well, I mean, look at that guy. He's a thug or he's a, you know, and it's sad. And I shouldn't have to, you know, be this, but look at me, you know, whatever. But I thought it was it was my responsibility to do that. And there are times when I don't even want to tackle the serious issues because I really am just about fun. Like my life is just about let's have fun, let's do fun stuff and everything. But when I started watching my friends' Facebook posts and the things that they were posting, I realized they don't think of me. They don't know my, like, they didn't even know, you know, my background in New Orleans, Louisiana, dude, and we weren't even rich here. My mom took care of us and my uncle lived here too. And we never looked poor or anything, but we were pretty poor. But I was always respected. My brother was a heck of an athlete as well. And he was older than me. And so like the community knows our family. But I realized like these people don't get it, you know? And so I had to tell my story to a lot of them. And some of them didn't even know that I got in fights in high school because of someone saying the N-word to me or something like that, you know? Like, and you know, I just saw a TikTok, this kid, man, I swear, some of these TikToks, these kids, these adults, like 19, 20-year-olds, dude, they're carrying the torch right now. Because this kid did a TikTok about how his white friend, he lives in a white town like I do and everything. His white friend was like, "Oh man, his white friend thought he was a centrist, right?" And he started posting TikToks, and his white friend was like, "Man, you're way more left than I thought you were." He goes, "I've always been this way, but Black people, we try to come off as more centrist because it's more acceptable to you guys." But and I say that we're all liberal or we're monolithic or anything like that, but you know, we code switch a lot. Where I think maybe we shouldn't be so much. You know, maybe we should be who we are at all times and let white people realize, like the Demetrius Snaer that you know, the professor, the athlete, that dude also talks like a thug sometimes. You know, sometimes when he's with just his Black friends, you'd probably be surprised what he sounds like, because we put on this facade all the time, you know.
Yes, I
So
told
it's
so.
hard.
Yeah, so I'm half Black, half Japanese. I grew up in
Okay.
Brooklyn, right? And
Mm-hmm.
Brooklyn is just a whole bunch of Caribbean and Black folks. That was my
Mm-hmm.
neighborhood. And then talk about code switching. My daughter goes to a private school and majority white, right? Like she's like two Black girls in her class, you know, the second Black girl in her class, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then as a parent, you know how that is. You walk in there, there's money, right? That's number one, right? And then there's the color thing, right? And the type of code switching I had to do was ridiculous. But during that time, I realized that exactly what you're saying. Why? Why am I changing the way that I speak to make you feel comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I be like, yo, what's up? How you doing? Like, what's going on? How was your summer? Like, I am me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm happy
Yeah.
to be me. And it feels good. It doesn't feel bad. You know, when I leave the conversation, you know, there's not that like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that. Maybe I should have said something differently. You know, I don't do that anymore. It is a waste of time. It
It
really,
really
really
is.
is. They're gonna accept you or they're not gonna accept you.
And
Yep.
it is what
Fuck
it
them if they
is.
don't. Plain
Yeah.
and
You know,
simple, you know?
I live in the same thing. I live in a all white town. I live in a beach town. I live here in Long Beach, New York. It's a barrier island and it's a beach town. And all the Black people live in about 4x4 blocks. And it's all white. And the money is on the other side and the big
Mm-hmm.
houses and the big. And my sons, we came here, we moved here from Brooklyn. And when they were younger, and it was hard for them, you know. And these kids came creative ways of calling them names. Like Nikki knows when they were calling them Regan, and my nice little white kid told my son, "Oh man, he's calling you nigger. Regan is nigger backwards, but they made that up so they can call you that in front of the teachers." You know.
Wow.
So my sons went from all Black in Brooklyn to here, and it was rough. It was hard. But what I couldn't do is be anything
anything
but
but
me.
you. That's right. I
Mm-hmm.
get that.
So it was hard, you know,
But
to
go
have to educate and talk to people and fight. It was so many fighting, like them not accepting my son's grades, them not accepting because he went to a gifted school in Brooklyn. He was always in accelerated programs and gifted programs. And they actually challenged us and the state of New York. They couldn't believe it because they was like, we never had a child this advanced
Huh.
in our schools. So they didn't believe it. And I said, you know, would you have believed it if we were white?
mm-hmm,
This, you mean this is the first time you've seen a Black child
mm-hmm.
Mm.
with this curriculum? Because he was a few years ahead. And by the seventh grade, he was almost done with his regents requirements. And they challenged not only me, but the school. And I was like, you think the school is in on it? You know, but that's a whole nother show. But yes.
I feel you honestly, because like that's one of the things. Like, so my wife grew up here in Manteca, and she was probably, you know, she grew up pretty privileged and stuff. And so like, when I got out of college, you know, I didn't have a job, right? So when I got out of college, I went to a temp agency, right? I was delivering phone books. I was driving a water truck. I was doing just all kind of stuff, right? And my wife would always be like, "Man, you know, why do you work so hard?" You know, and I had to sit her down. saying to her, like people don't expect me that, like, people have this idea of a black man, right, that they have.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to fight against that every single day. And I remember
Mm.
my wife, I'd come home from work, and she had she's kind of an artist in a way, and she had drew a picture, of me driving a water truck to show to my daughter, at the time when she was a kid. She's like, this is what daddy's doing right now. And so, like, but she's always known that, like I tell my wife today, if I lose my job teaching tomorrow, I'm going to make more money, because I've turned down stuff that would probably make me more money because I'm comfortable, but I've always worked so hard. And so my daughters, they are the same way, because we taught them that, like I'm a competitive person. The athlete in me just always wanted my daughter to be the smartest in her class and this, and, so, like, they were chasing me down the street before other kids could walk, and stuff. And so, like,
Yes.
and we got to kindergarten, and I had already taught my daughter how to write her name and all this. And so the teacher hands out pencils to everyone, and she's like, oh, I think it might have been preschool. She's like, if anyone can write their name, go ahead and try. Man, these kids were just like, all over. Like, looked over and, like, so again, all white town, and my wife was working. She was working days as a teacher. I was working nights in television. So I'm there, black man, his daughter, and my daughter just writes her name just perfectly. Man, everybody next to us was like, wait, what's going on? I was just like I've always said, like, we're gonna be, so I'm
Yes.
I say it's partially luck, partially, the way we raised them, but they're good kids, and we haven't had too many issues, and they work hard and stuff. Sometimes I got to get on them, but, for the most part, it's good. But like you said, I mean, it's crazy to me too, because I feel like we as Black people, we are so smart, we are so intuitive, we're so ingenuous. I mean, we just have so much that, like, I think, and sometimes I think it's we step on our own feet sometimes, but we're just, I don't know. I feel like I don't know, we've been underestimated. We've
Oh,
been
yes. Oh, yes,
underestimated.
without a doubt. Without
That
a
You know,
doubt.
that's
On
great. That's a
purpose.
great word. Yeah,
yeah,
underestimated. That is a
Yes.
wonderful way of putting it.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I
Exactly.
have I
And
have
they
two more
mm,
questions for you
mm,
Okay,
before we head out.
yeah,
First one is, you wrote an article
hmm,
called "Why Did I Cry?"
mm,
yes, yeah,
Yes. Um, I, I cried reading that
huh,
article.
mm.
yeah,
So I'm hoping that you can kind of tell the audience a little bit about it. Obviously, I don't expect you to read the whole thing, but I'm just saying, like, what I know what happened, but can you tell them what
yeah,
happened that made you write that
yeah.
article?
I'm gonna be blatantly honest with you. I am not a crier. Like, I don't. My wife hates it. We watch a movie, laugh when she's crying. Things don't get to me.
You laugh
And
when she's crying.
here's why though. I was a cry baby as a kid. Like, up until like 13, like, anything happened, I would cry. My sister to this day would be like, "You gonna cry? You gonna cry now?" Because I used to cry all the time, right? So at some point, I just stopped crying. But on this day, I literally had just saw a video. I watched this video, this Black kid in Stockton, who turns out I kind of knew him. He was home from college. He's jogging down the street. Cops pull him over, harass him a little bit, and they say it's because someone had called and said that he was looking over people's fences. This kid played Division I football. He was literally out for a jog. It turned out to be someone else. His high school coach happened to live on the block he was running on, came out and vouched for him, right? So I jog all the time. So I'm jogging down the street. Literally, I mean, it's so eerie because, like, spiritually, I'm still finding myself, but this is one of those things that makes you say, like, wow, I'm jogging down the street. As I'm jogging, I notice the fences are all about, like, my eye levels. So these fences must be 5 feet because I'm 5'11", and I'm thinking I can see over every fence as I'm jogging, right? And I just thought about that as I was jogging, like, wow, I can see over every fence. That's crazy. Well, right when I'm thinking that, I hear sirens, right? Loud sirens. And I literally just, I don't know what it was. Emotionally, things came over me. I stopped and I just paused, and I thought, someone called the police saying that I was looking over fences, and now here come the police, and now I got to figure out how I'm going to, and I've never had this happen to me. And I've been pulled over, I've been harassed, I've had things happen to me, but I've never had this happen the way that it did. My emotions took over me. I literally just started crying. Like tears are falling from my eyes, and I'm worried. I am afraid for my life, because this is during a time when I think this was right around George Floyd, right after George Floyd had happened as well. I look behind me, or right as I'm turning to look, I notice it's fire trucks going by. And the amount of relief that I had, but the thoughts that went through my head. And so when I wrote that, it's things that I think about. My sister is married to a white guy who's a police officer. He always has to go to these calls, you know, when there's riots, he's there. And he's a good dude. He's a good dude, you know, and honestly, he's a good dude, but he's a police officer. And I've had to check him many times, and I've had to tell him, like, Zach, bro, you do something like that, or you caught saying something like that, you're in trouble. And so I've had to, you know, help him out sometimes. So
Yeah.
he's not good dude. He's never had
Educate
anything
him.
happen, but I've had, you know, so I thought about him, you know, I thought about the times that he's at these riots and people are throwing things at him. My sister's son, she has 3 sons, 3 boys who are half black and half white, but as we know, they are black to everyone else. And they're all athletes. They're freaking great looking kids. They're going to have issues on top of issues, because the oldest is going to be in high school in 2 years, and he is going to have girls liking him and all this stuff, because he's going to be an athlete. And so he has to know that, like, there are things that you have to be careful of, because you are a black man in America. You know, my oldest brother was shot and killed. My oldest brother, no, this is another story, but that was when I was 16 years old. My oldest brother was killed. He was heavily involved in drug selling and gangs and stuff in Louisiana. And when we moved here, he moved back there because he said, I need to go back to New Orleans and make money. That's where the money's being made, and blah, blah, blah. And again, that's, like you said, that's another show as well. But yeah, the emotions of that moment was just, it was overwhelming. Honestly, was overwhelming. Again, I am not a crier, but I stood there on that street and I cried for a good 2 to 3 minutes before I finished up my jog and went home. And as soon as I got home, it was like, I just wrote this, and I wrote it. Actually, it was just a Facebook post. I wrote it as a Facebook post. One of my friends writes for the Manteca Bulletin, and he said, man, I have an article due tomorrow, but he's like, I don't even, there's nothing that I could write that could do what you just did on this story. So if it's okay with you, I want to print it, and then so I called my brother-in-law, my sister, and asked if it was okay, because he doesn't like to make public that he's a police officer and all that, but he said it was okay, because what's funny is he is an emotional person. He cries all the time for a police officer. This dude is like, he cries so much. But
that makes me like him even more.
Yeah, emotional and stuff. So yeah, that was just, man, I don't know.
It was beautifully written. Like I really felt it, definitely. Like I felt like I was in that moment with you, where you described everything that you described. While I was reading it, I could see it,
Yeah.
It was
your
really...
TikToks are like that too. I am drawn in by them, and I love the way you communicate. I love the way you get your points across, but I feel you, I hear you, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's hard to hear the message, but the way you deliver it, and it's coming from such an honest place. And I love that. I love the balance. I even love your responses. Some people get a little riled up at the responses, when you're responding to it. You are so calm, dude. And your responses are so on point and so clear. And I appreciate that so much. And I'm like, that makes a difference,
Thank you.
to see. I'm like, look at our brother out there. He because we got a lot of people acting crazy, because we have the opposite of that. We got a lot of people. So I'm proud of you. I don't know you, but I'm proud of you, and I feel like I know you. I feel like we're fam. And from your TikTok, I feel, and that connection, it's coming through. I don't know if it comes through, man.
Thank you.
Job well done.
Appreciate
job well done.
I think, and on that, I think we'll end our conversation. Thank you so much. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for coming on. I appreciate it. This conversation was amazing. I learned so much
Amazing.
about you. I think
Yeah.
your followers are going to be so happy to hear these stories about, you know, your upbringing and where you came from, and a little bit more about your family life and your thoughts and stuff like that. So thank you again.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. This was fun. I appreciate this so much. Definitely a good show. I was to check you guys out more and everything, because yeah, this was fun. I appreciate it. And again, proud of you guys too for doing it. Because like we need more of this. You know, we just need more of us, of our people out here showing, you know, these kids, these younger folks, you know, what they're capable of. I think it's so important. So thanks, you know, I appreciate you guys having me on. Anytime you want me on, let me know.
I was just about to say that.
I was about to say, I hope we could do this again. I really, really hope we could do this again. This was awesome. This was awesome.
Yeah, I can talk a lot if you guys couldn't tell. So
that's what we were hoping for, actually.
Yeah.
We were like,
I hope
he's a talker.
Yeah, because we're talkers.
All right, to my listeners, thank y'all so much for listening. I appreciate you guys so much. All right, so we out. Deuces.
Thank you. Bye-bye.